This right here is what we call character development and plot progression. The moment we've all been waiting for, whether you are a Rem enthusiast or not. I mean, if our boy was going to deny Rem the same love that she was giving him, then we had to reach a point where Emilia and Subaru got together, or at least had a moment of honesty and could have true love be shown before a head immediately got cut off in the moment, or she was kind of going crazy and demonic, and that love really wasn't what he wanted. This was, without a doubt, I think, the best moment next to the Rem's confession episode. I think they go hand in hand to serve an equally important purpose. Subaru's been a character who he's cared for a lot of characters, and Rem is, without a doubt, his second most loved character for him. But he can never love anyone the same way he loves Emilia. That will always be his number one. And he had to deny Rem her love, saying, you know, like, I'm going to keep being selfish, I'm going to keep carrying on towards my goal, and that's what Rem fell in love with. So to have an episode where Emilia is at her absolute lowest, she's crushed, she's beyond broken, and to have an episode where Subaru for the first time is able to say his true feelings, to say everything he wants, the good and the bad about the one that he loves, and to have her fight back and saying this is illogical, which she's absolutely right. If you look at it from each character's perspectives, they're both completely sound in what they're saying, while also being a little deranged with their emotional responses. But the fact that they both came to such an understanding that even if they are slightly confused about the other, they just know that they care for each other, and no matter how low they get, they're going to be there for them as long as they're being honest. And this was Subaru's most honest point in the entire series, I feel like, that he truly said it how it was, that he's like, I do get annoyed with you, I do feel frustrated by your actions at times, but I'm gonna be here because I love you. I don't follow you because of this or that. You know, the reason all this is happening goes off of all the reasons he cares for her. A lot of them are physical, but at the same time, he just believes in her as a person. It's simple. Like, the reason he follows, the reason why he wants to put her on this throne, the reason why he's died so many times. It's simple love, and love isn't something that can be defined by a sentence so that people outside can understand. Love is there, and love is a hard thing to grasp for people not in that loving relationship. So the fact that they were able to have this conversation, this first real true fight, where she is throwing it in his face, like, how could you love someone as basically disgusting as me, is how she's putting it. She feels disgusted with herself, and she feels like, you know, she was abandoned. Puck abandoned her. Subaru abandoned her. The fact that he promised that he would stay with her all night, and she woke up having all these new memories flood into her head, she has a right to be furious, and Subaru doesn't deny that fact. The fact that they're able to have this such genuine anger towards each other, while having compassion thrown with every other word, it really does bring it out to be such a powerful and equally memorable moment to that of Rem's confession. And clearly it's done on purpose. Subaru is taking influence to how Rem comforted him, and saying, like, I will accept all your faults, I will accept your good and your bad. The main difference is Subaru actually insulted her as well. So it's very interesting to see, because I think they need this moment, and even though the episode does end with Garv kind of coming in a bit bloody, not knowing what happened to Otto as well as Ram, it still does give me hope that there could be a more peaceful resolution, or at the very least, hopefully a checkpoint after this moment. If not, our boy better hope he can do the same conversation without losing his shit. I really like this because even if you're not an Emilia enthusiast, you can't deny that Subaru's true feelings lie with Emilia, and Emilia's true feelings lie with Subaru. But they both have a lot of weight on their shoulders. Emilia is now remembering so many memories of fearful that who she currently is isn't going to be who she is in a day's time, an hour's time. All these new memories flooding in, not remembering, fearful that, like, what if I disappear? Will he still care for me the same way? Will I look at him the same way as I currently do? It's a lot to take in, and then for someone like Subaru having to deal with having to die and trying to navigate everything, this is his one shot, his one opportunity. If he messes it, he has to go with Roswell's bet. It's kind of insane to see both characters and where they're landing here. So to have a moment where you take the time after an amazing Otto backstory and first half of the episode, which we'll definitely touch upon later, it really does make it feel like this was like 3 episodes in one, but it didn't feel rushed. The fact that ReZero can have these like 27 to 28 minute episodes, you skip the opening, sometimes the opening plays throughout the episode, and then the ending credits play alongside more character dialogue. I really hope this is going to be a staple in future ReZero seasons, because at this point, I don't know if I could go back to the traditional listening to an opening, listening to an ending, and getting 21 to 22 minutes of ReZero content like in Season 1. It just doesn't feel like it could work anymore. So I'm hoping White Fox can carry on this type of momentum. But then again, maybe it's just the type of arc that we're currently adapting with season 2 and why it needs it. So then again, it's not impossible to go back to the old formula, but I think we're just greedy at this point, wanting it to stay consecutive. It's just such a great episode to see this anger, this resolve, because there's so much happening, but it just boils down to two people who love each other, who both have equally painful things going on. And I say equal in different ways. Just because Subaru has to die all this time doesn't kind of negate what she's dealing with, having basically a new personality flood into her head, her trying to still be herself while remembering what came before. They're pretty painful things they have to deal with, but the fact that they can just sit down and talk, where with Rem's confession it was kind of like the spinning, beautiful landscape, here it was like a dark cave is what it felt like, but it felt just as beautiful and powerful. I think they did a great job that whether you were a Rem enthusiast or not, you can see that Subaru really cares for her, and the fact that it wasn't like pushed away. And while yes, she was pushing away, you have to look at it from her perspective, because she does feel gross, she does feel this and that, and she most likely was looking for so long, saying like, this is just a boy following me because I'm going to be queen. And the fact that he did abandon and break a promise similar to Puck, it's understandable why she couldn't just take everything at face value up until the end of the episode. And while a kiss may not be the most craziest original moments to showcase love, it was a true act of affection, and you can't deny that there was true love there. And that's all you needed to see in that moment. The first half of the episode with Otto actually getting a backstory and understanding more about his character. Probably, I'd argue, the most mysterious character ReZero has. I mean, at first when you look at him in season 1, he's just a cart driver, and you're like, it's kind of a fun character. Season 2 comes knocking on your door, punches you in the face similar to Subaru, and you realize he's kind of best boy right now. The fact that he has this kind of like divine protection, the ability to talk to animals or insects, and seeing his backstory and how he had such a hard time communicating with anyone for so long, having all these mumbled and jumbled voices in his head, and the fact that it took him till, the age of 8 or 10 to be able to properly write down his feelings and being able to see true compassion. I really like the moment where he talks about how there's been like 3 points in his life that truly changed him. The first, when he was born, when he cried. The second time when he cried, when he realized how much his family cared for him, because you just couldn't really hear anyone or really understand what was happening. And the third was obviously Subaru and what happened with everything we've seen recently. It's great to get that type of clarification. While it's not like him dropping the bomb saying, I'm Odin, I'm the most powerful god in existence, it just goes to show like he is more than just a standard cart driver, and it does put into perspective more about why he's fighting so hard, especially considering like how he had this horrible life and then pretty loving life, and then kind of got pushed away by the village once. Kind of is understandable, as shitty as it is to say. Like when you see a kid kind of rising locusts up from the dead, it feels like, and this mob comes down, it's understandable why a group of villagers would be like, get the hell out of here, and would kind of throw rocks at you and things. I'm not saying it deserved to happen, but if you're put into the perspective of not knowing who this kid is and you see him raise his arms up and giant insects are coming towards you, yeah, you probably would think he's the devil, as shitty as it is. So I really like getting that clarification while he's basically running and fighting for his life. I thought he was about to brawl fisticuffs, but no, they went more emotional, because he's not really a fighter, but he is someone who believes in his friends and will do whatever it takes. And there was some close calls in this episode, and we don't know if it ended in death for him or not. If it did, that is going to absolutely sting beyond belief. But if he does end up dead and it being permanent, at least we can say we got some great clarification and great development for him and Subaru. If it wasn't for Ram coming in, this would have ended a lot sooner, so I'm glad that she did, as much as it looked like she got her kick shit in. So just the back and forth, seeing them work together while insulting each other or insulting Subaru, it was just a really fun episode for that alone. It just really brought it together, and I'm glad they had that in the first half. So the second half felt like we understood what the consequence of this conversation was. So as it was going back and forth, is it going a good end, a bad end, good end, bad end? It made it feel like we have to reach something satisfying here, because those two characters could easily end up dead for this moment. Don't let it go to waste, and it wasn't. This was one of the most satisfying and I think one of the moments that will stand out the most from season 2 for me, to be honest. Rem's confession is one that I always look back at for season 1, and I think Subaru's confession is going to be one that equally stands out for me. This was phenomenal, and I don't know where we're going next week, but I can't wait to see more. Let me know your thoughts and feelings down below. What did you think of the confession and the kiss and Otto's amazing backstory? Let me know. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, show your support, and hit that subscribe button if you have been new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.